Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another Pokemon Go video. And in this video, we are going to be going over the power of Lucario. And to start this video off here, we are going to be looking at Lucario's rankings based on Pvpoke and its battle rankings, as well as where it places in the meta and what Pokemon it does very well against and what Pokemon it loses to, and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this and find this very informative. And I hope this gives you a reason to use Lucario, if there isn't enough reasoning already. So, anyways, let's hop right into these battle sims, and a few minutes later on in this video, we are going to be looking at some battles. So, if you guys would like to see those, please keep watching until about halfway through the video, or a third of the way through. So yeah, but anyways, let's get started here. Let's go to rankings. Let's do Kingdom Cup. Let's do Lucario. And as you can see, it's ranked as 2 in Pvpoke. Um, and its score is very high. Uh, as you can see, it's ranked 100 as an attacker. And everything else is very rounded, all above um, like 90. And it seems to be extremely strong as a lead and a closer. So it's pretty. You can use it in almost any scenario. The recommended moveset is for sure counter, Power Up Punch, and Shadow Ball. There's really no use for Flash Cannon or Close Combat because Power Up Punch will make your counters just be way stronger than usual, than normal. And as you can see here, its key matchups are definitely going to be Bastiodon, Probopass, Celio, Lapras, and Melmetal. Um, all doing super effective to every single one of these. And against Bastiodon, it will be 4 times super effective. And in Probopass, it'll be 2 times super effective, I believe. Um, it might be 4 times, but I forget. But anyways, uh, its top counters here are going to be fire types, fire and flying types, um, like Ho-Oh, like Moltres, like Charizard, Blaziken, Torkoal, um, Altaria, for sure. Alolan Marowak will be one. You definitely won't want to stay in the battle against an Alolan Marowak. Um, yeah, it has a lot more matchups that I can show you guys, but yeah. So as a lead here, um, he's extremely good because he has the power up punch, and if you use him in the right way, you'll be able to sweep teams with his power up punch because that'll make all of his attacks do much more damage, and that Shadow Ball hits extremely hard to almost every Pokemon in the meta. And Power Up Punch, each time you use it, it's just going to increase your counters and increase your Power Up Punches. So yeah, yeah. As a lead, it's ranked number 4. As a closer, it's ranked number 2. Um, Attacker, it's actually number 1, and Defender, it's number 10. So yeah. Anyways, let's get right into the battle simulation part of the video. Um, let's run a multi-battle against the entirety of the Kingdom Cup meta here. Um, Power Up Punch, Shadow Ball here, 0 shields, and as you can see, it basically wrecks three quarters of the meta, and only loses to about 14%, and then the rest of the odds he draws with about 13% of the meta. As you can see by this chart, he wins a lot of matchups, and I can only think of what this bar is, but yeah. So as you can see here, he counters Pokemon like Bastiodon very well. Um, all these other Pokemon. Some names here are Empoleon, Steelix, Walrein, Celio, Magcargo, Kingdra even. All these other Pokemon. And as you get down here, this is where his rating starts to go way down because this is where more unfavorable matchups start to occur. So it's funny because Lucario against Lucario is a draw, which makes sense. Flygon also seems to be a draw for him, even though Flygon should have the lead there. And yeah, Skarmory does pretty well against it. Charizard does very well against it. Frostlass destroys it, and Altaria just destroys it as well. So yeah, let's get into one shield here. In one shield, it drops a little bit, just because it's a lot less, or it's a lot more squishy than a lot of the meta. So you won't be able to be shielding as much. So it's gonna get hit more and it's gonna die quicker. But yeah, anyways, it wins. It takes a lot of wins at 50. It loses 22 matchups and it draws with 6. So yeah, these percentages are looking really good for Lucario here. And yeah, let's get into 2 shields and we'll be looking at some more sims. And I'll be telling you guys what you want to run Lucario against. And yeah, 2 shields. It's about the same. 48 wins across the meta, 26 losses, and 4 draws. So now let's get into some regular battles here. So the first one you're going to want to be watching out for is Lapras. Lucario is a really good Lapras counter against either Water Gun or Ice Shard. It doesn't matter. The Lapras is probably going to run Water Gun, Surf, and Ice Beam because that's what seems to be the most useful in this meta. And yeah, as you can see, the matchups here are very strong for Lucario. 2 shields, it has a rating of about 700. As you can see, it wins with 42 HP left. And yeah, it makes the Lapras burn both shields. In the 1 shield matchup, it's also very good. Pretty much the same exact outcome. And then 1 shield is the closest matchup, definitely, where it only wins with 5 HP left. Because that Surf does chunk it pretty nicely. That means you only have to charge up 2 Surfs against a Lucario. So yeah, that's a really good matchup for Lucario. Now let's look at Bastiodon, just the absolute king of the meta here. It's definitely going to be running Flamethrower and Stone Edge. And yeah, as you can see, all these are very light blue, meaning it has a seriously positive matchup here. It's all like 800 to 900 across the board, which means a super strong matchup. And yeah, just look at that counter. It does 13 damage per counter. That's huge. Um, 1 power up punch adds 2 damage per counter, so that's massive. And yeah, you're definitely going to want to shield that flamethrower. And then with 0 shields, it's pretty much the same exact outcome. Just that power up punch and that 4 times super effective damage is going to shred through Bastiodon. Now let's look at another favorable matchup here, which is going to be, I'm just trying to think here. Obviously, Lucario against itself is going to be a draw pretty much every way you slice it. Only certain IV changes will make one favorable to compared to a different Lucario. Let's take a look at Bronzong here. Confusion, Psychic, Heavy Slam. And yeah, it actually surprisingly wins that matchup with 0 shields. But as you can see here, Bronzong is a pretty... It's more of a soft counter towards Lucario, but it can do the job with 1 shield and 2 shields, whereas Lucario wins with 0 shields. So pretty interesting there. Now let's take a look at Alolan Marowak. Whoops. It's going to be running Hex, Bone Club, Shadow Ball. My case, mine has Fire Blast, but that's because I don't have TMs. So yeah, anyways, as you can see here, it has really bad matchups against Alolan Marowak. Because that fighting damage will be it will be doing not very effective damage to Alolan Marowak since it's Ghost, and Ghost I think 2 times resist fighting if I'm correct, or 1 times. I think it's 2 times though. Yeah, those counters only doing 3 damage, so yeah, that's definitely a double resist. Power Up Punch only doing 13, and then Shadow Ball absolutely destroys Lucario there. And the only matchups it can win are if it's on shield advantages, or if it's one shield to one shield, and it barely wins with two HP left. So yeah, Alola Marowak is a very safe bet to run against Lucario. And Alola Marowak pairs extremely well against Lucario. You guys will see that in the battles coming up here. And now next, let's run it against Flygon here, with Mudshot, Earthquake, and Dragon Claw. And yeah, surprisingly enough here, you'd think Flygon would win this matchup because the ground is doing super effective damage to Lucario. But oddly enough, it wins nicely with 2 shields, with the with about a third of its HP left. And it has that Power Up Punch boost times 2. So yeah, you can definitely get things rolling if you have a favorable matchup with Lucario. And same thing with one shield, wins with 13 HP. It's a lot less of a counter. That's a lot less of a nice win, but it is what it is. And then 0 shields apiece is a draw, surprisingly. And yeah, as you can see, that Earthquake does 215 damage, so yeah, you're gonna want to shield that. And now next here, um, let's go back to multi-battle and see what Lucario does well against. It does really well. Oh, yeah, let's take a look at Empoleon, um, Magcargo, Shelgon, Steelix. So yeah, Steelix, I believe this is going to be an interesting one. Lucario definitely should win this, I believe, as long as it has shields. So yeah, it actually wins in every shield matchup. As you can see here, both shield matchups it will win. Only thing it loses is 0 shields to Steelix's 1 and 2 shields because of the Earthquake charge. So it has a pretty convincing win with roughly half health left here with what is that? 1 shield? Yeah, 1 shield. It's really convincing. Um, yeah, it's the counter will be doing 11 damage per hit, and Power Up Punch will be doing a lot more damage as well. And since Steel is weak to fighting, yeah, that's gonna work out very well in Lucario's favor. Um, Lucario runs well with a lot of Pokemon, uh, including Flygon, Altaria. Pretty much every team you have is gonna want a Lucario counter, a counter to a Lucario counter, and then a Bastiodon counter, or like anything else you want to throw in there. So yeah, you're definitely gonna want a Bastiodon and Lucario counter at least. So yeah, you guys can choose which one that will be, but I'll probably make a video on that. And now let's take a look at Empoleon. I don't want to make this analysis too long here, because I know it gets boring after a while, but yeah, so Hydro Pump and Flash Cannon I'm guessing is going to be the best moveset here. And yeah, as you can see across the board, it's a positive matchup because that fighting damage is super effective to Steel, and Empoleon's charge moves only are 1 bars, and Waterfall is very slow. As you can see here, that's extremely slow. But it does a really nice chunk of damage, but yeah. And now an interesting matchup here, this is the last one I'll be doing, is Blaziken. Blaziken actually can counter both Lucario and Bastiodon, so take that into consideration when going up against the Blaziken. And ideally, you're going to want Stone Edge and Overheat or Focus Blast, but since Stone Edge is so extremely rare, let's just put Brave Bird and Focus Blast. And yeah, as you can see here, it loses to it pretty hard with 2 shields. Blaziken still has 47 HP left, and same exact outcome with 1 shield. because that counter from Blaziken will be doing 17 whole damage. So that's just absolutely insane. Um, that's so much more damage than Lucario's. Yeah, it's just super impressive. And it comes out to a tie with no shield somehow, but it's because it's able to get off that power up punch. Alright, so yeah, anyways, I hope you guys found that Pvpoke portion of the video helpful. And yeah, let's get straight into the recordings. Alright, so here, in a lot of these battles I wanted to open with Lucario. And I found that Lucario, Lapras, and Alolan Marowak was the lineup I was most confident in, and the lineup I got most wins with. But yeah, anyways, first opponent here is Light Triad. Um, and yeah, I hope this shows you that Lucario is most definitely needed in this meta. Okay, here we go. First battle here. It's actually a mirror match. Lucario versus Lucario, so we know how that's gonna go. He makes a quick switch into Skarmory, so I have Charizard here, and I make a switch into Charizard. I must block that Sky Attack because Charizard is very squishy, and Sky Attack does a good chunk of damage. And right there, I actually used Dragon Claw. He blocked. He used a Sky Attack. I block. I'm able to come back with another Dragon Claw there. And now his Steelix comes in. So I'm feeling decent here. I have that Blast Burn ready to go. And that would have done massive damage to Steelix if he didn't block, but he smartly did. He feints the Charizard, and I come in with Lucario to get the clean sweep. And now I have my boost power up, my boosted attack here, and yeah, that power up punch pretty much one shot that Lucario there. Um, so yeah, GG's to him, battle one. I think we do 5 battles here, or something like that. Um, but yeah, when you have shields and a Lucario that's boosted with power up punch, it's going to run through your team. So you definitely want to have a strong counter like a Alolan Marowak. Um, and this time he opens with Flygon. I switch out, even though I didn't really need to. But yeah, this Lapras goes to work with that Water Gun and that Surf. He blocks that first Surf. I eat these Dragon Claws like a champ because Lapras is tanky enough in this meta. And it's a really strong Pokemon too as well. And now he brings in Melmetal. Um, I'm okay with this matchup because as you can see that Surf did a really good chunk of damage, but he does have energy charged. So I do send in Lucario here to clean him up. He does use a Flash Cannon though, that does a load of damage to me. And he brings in his Lucario, feints me, and then I have my Charizard with one shield ready. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of game number 2. And he did have one shield left, but Charizard's quick move does plenty of damage, so no need to use a charge move there. Yeah, as you can guys see, in these lineups, I have one counter per Pokemon, so I always have a Lucario counter and a Bastiodon counter in most lineups. Um, I also like to have an Altaria and a Flygon counter too sometimes. But I've noticed Alolan Marowak actually does surprisingly well against things like Altaria because that Shadow Ball is just a great move. I highly recommend Alolan Marowak. And this one, surprisingly, he opens with Lucario again, and I open with Blaziken, but I don't shield that. So yeah, that Blaziken goes down instantly there. I probably should have shielded, but I do switch into Alolan Marowak and kill the Lucario, and they bring in Lapras. So I get that Shadow Ball off, and as you can see, that just did like half of Lapras's health. Um, I shielded that Ice Beam so I could preserve Lucario's HP, and then that Flagon comes in, and my counter is just wrecking it because of the Power Up Punch attack boost. And here I wanted to block that so I could attempt to sweep his team. And I killed the Lapras as well, and that's game over. So yeah, GG's game 3. I take another win there. And now this is where I believe I run a little lap. No, I don't. Or actually, I might. This is where I run Dragonair, maybe? Yeah, okay. That's where I run Dragonair, Lucario, and Alolan Marowak. Dragonair is basically my Lapras placeholder. But yeah, he has Charizard and Flygon there, so I'm in a good spot. And I know Dragonair does a ton of damage to that Flygon just using Dragon Breath. But I do have to spend both shields to block those Dragon Claws from Flygon. And now he brings in Piloswine, but I do have that Alcatel to do super effective damage because that Piloswine is rock or is ground as well. And here I bring in Lucario to do some good damage. He swaps into Charizard. I make a quick swap into this Alolan Marowak, as you can see. Um, and yeah, he gets off 2 Shadow Claws. I'm finally able to get off my Shadow Ball. And then he brings in Piloswine to finish off Alolan Marowak. And then I have a Power Up Punch ready on Lucario to take that game as well. So yeah, Lucario is a big player in this meta. Um, he's a super strong, solid pick. You're gonna want him. Yeah, and this time I just basically switch up the flow, and yeah, I try to get sweeps here with Lucario, but it's so tough because some people always run a good Lucario counter. So props to them being aware that Lucario is a threat. And this time they actually open Frostlass, and I do stay in here to test this out. So he blocked that first Power Up Punch. I don't know how to feel about that block. I don't think it was really needed whatsoever. I do block that Shadow Ball. They block another Power Up Punch. Weirdly enough, that wouldn't do much damage at all. I blocked that Avalanche thinking it was maybe a Shadow Ball, but yeah, I have 2 fully charged moves right here, and they have 0 shield, so I choose to go with Shadow Ball, and that knocks out the Torkoal, and then Lucario comes in here, so I switch into Alolan Marowak, and I almost had the sweep there, as you can see. My Power Up Punch charged up fully, but he took me out right before I could get it off, so nearly a sweep there. And yeah, I finish off that game with Shadow Ball, and GG's game 4. Alright, hey guys, and welcome to opponent number 2 here. In the Power of Lucario, we are going up against Eloisia, another face you've seen before here on the channel. But yeah, in this one, I open Lucario, they open Altaria there, and this is a very unfavorable matchup for me. But I do want to stay in just to test how much damage I can do. So I'm basically just using power punches to raise my counter and see how much it can do. And right there, I switch it up and fire off a Shadow Ball, and they do block, so that's really nice. And they finally take me out with that Sky Attack, but I do have the shield advantage. So I swap in a Dragonair to get that quick kill. And then they bring in their own Lucario, and Dragonair actually is an unfavorable matchup against Lucario. But if I did use that shield, I would have been able to take it out. And here I have Alolan Marowak as my closer. And I farm enough energy from Lucario, and he has a Bastiodon, so yeah, that's a GG. Bastiodon is ridiculously tanky. And even Shadow Balls won't do anything. While his Smackdown and Stone Edge does super effective damage to me since I'm Fire, as well as Ghost. So yeah, GG's to him game 1. That actually ended up being closer than I thought it would. Yeah, Alolan Marowak still was doing some decent work there. It just was unlucky that they had Bastion to close it out. But anyways, in this one we go in with Flygon. I can't think of the other ones. Flygon, Lucario, and Lapras, I think. Yeah, and they open Bastiodon, so this is a good matchup for me. That Earthquake will do tons of damage to Bastiodon. And smart, they do block the first Earthquake and then switch out with that stored energy they have. Smart switch, but I do have Dragon Claws charged up. so they do have to burn both shields. And then I get off a third Dragon Claw. Incredible. Flygon's really good at charging those. And then here I bring in Lapras, and I don't block that Sky Attack. And I farm enough energy to almost get off another Surf. They bring in that Bashy with Stone Edge. I block that, and I use Surf here. And yeah, I'm just continuing with the Water Gun spam. And then their last Pokemon is Lucario. I had Siri pop up there. I don't know what happened, but yeah. And yeah, my Lucario finished off their Lucario to take the win. So yeah, GG's game 2 or game 3. I honestly forget. I'm not really keeping track that well here. But yeah, and I think this is where I start to run Lapras, Alolan, Marowak, maybe. Um, but okay, no, there I run Charizard. Yeah. All right, so we have a mirror match with Lucario v Lucario, and I do allow them to take my Lucario out, so I can get a quick switch into Charizard and gain one little hit of energy there. They switch into Altaria. I tried to switch to Lapras, but it wouldn't let me, so I fire off that Dragon Claw, then switch out. Uh, I do block that first Sky Attack, and I go for Ice Beam here. So it forces them to shield or get KO'd. They shield, so now I am up one shield. And yeah, I actually use that shield there to get rid of the Altaria with Ice Beam. And then they bring in a Charizard. And then here I'm stuck Charizard v Charizard. And you guys know this is going to end badly for me. And his Dragon Claw finishes off my Charizard. So GG game 3 or 4. Um, and yeah, to give you guys like an overview, you're going to want to pair Lucario with things that cover it very well. So um, Lucario is weak to Blaziken, so you're going to want to have a Lapras or a Alolan Marowak. Um, it's also weak to Flygon, so Lapras also covers that very nicely. It's weak to Alolan Marowak. Lapras covers that again very nicely. And yeah, it's basically weak to all ground, fire, and flying Pokemon. So ground, fire, and flying are all weak to water and ice. Um, ground and fire being weak to water, and the flying and dragon, aka Altaria, is weak to the ice. So I, in my opinion, Lapras is probably one of Lucario's strongest teammates because it covers everything that Lucario is weak to. So yeah, anyways, we're getting into this last battle here. It's pretty deep in the battle. And I think my Flygon clutches up here and gets off an Earthquake. Yeah, it does. And this is a scenario where Flygon does really well. As long as you have that one shield and enough health, you can easily take down a Bastiodon with Earthquake. Um, but yeah, I was saying that Lapras pairs very well with Lucario. And then Lucario is weak to, or not Lucario, Lapras is weak to Lucario. Um, it's weak to things like Melmetal, um, which Lucario covers both of those. Lapras is also weak to, let's see what else here. Bastiodon. That's a pretty close matchup though, and Lucario also covers that. So yeah, like I was saying, I'd say I'd say I'd say run Lapras and Lucario and try and see how well you do with it. I personally think it's one of the strongest combos there are in this meta. And then to top it off, I put in Hex, Shadow Ball, Alolan Marowak in there to basically give like a confident counter to a Lucario, just so that someone else's Lucario can't run through my own Lucario and my Lapras. Alolan Marowak is a nice wall. As long as you watch out for that Shadow Ball and have a shield for it, you should do extremely well with an Alolan Marowak. Yeah, that's the end of these battles with this opponent. Each one of these battle portions are different people, so take that in a note that their teams will be slightly different, and we are battling these blind, so I don't have any knowledge on what they're using. Hey guys, and welcome to battle portion 3 of this video of the Power of Lucario. And these are some very close battles between my last opponent in this video. And this is where I really enjoyed running Lucario with Lapras and Alolan Marowak. So to start this off, he opened Lucario and won the mirror match. And then I brought in my Alolan Marowak to finish that off. And he brings in a Shieldgun, surprisingly. I haven't really faced a Shieldgun much. And that dragon, I allowed that Dragon Pulse to go through. And then we end this battle off with the Lapras versus Bastiodon, both 2 shields. But yeah, that Smackdown is putting in work against Lapras and doing tons of damage. He burned through both shields pretty much before I had to use one, but that Smackdown is just doing so much damage that I end up not being able to take that battle. So yeah, even with 2 shields, it seems Lapras cannot finish a Bastiodon. It seems like you would need some extra energy when coming into that battle. And yeah, there I actually switch out. I see what happens when I use Lucario and Blaziken on the same team. I don't think this battle ends well at all here, but we're gonna see in a second. So yeah, right here, we open Lucario, they open Charizard, so we have to get out of there ASAP into Lapras, and they switch into their own Bastiodon. So we know this isn't a good matchup for us, as seen in the last battle. But I do make them burn shields, and I also burn 1 shield, but I'm still up that 1 shield, so I'm feeling okay here, since that Bastiodon is nearly dead, and I can just pull in here either of these Pokemon to finish off that Bastiodon pretty nicely. And I do charge up enough energy to get a power-up punch before going out to Charizard. And I actually do shield this, and I'm barely able to get off that power-up punch against that shield gun, and that takes me out. Or shell gun, my bad. And then here I bring in Blaziken, and yeah, shell gun wins with 1 HP left. So you guys could see there, those counters were doing a ton of damage, but the shell gun was barely able to squeeze out 1 charge move to finish off Blaziken. So yeah, running Blaziken with Lucario probably isn't the smartest thing because they both get countered by Altaria. And yeah, take the N and out. Try not to run 2 fighting types on 1 team. I was just testing that though to see how it would do, but yeah, I lost there. So anyways, in this third match, I opened Flygon, they opened Lapras, so I had to get out of there instantly into Lucario. We both shield each other's charge moves, sorry. And then they bring in their own Lucario, and that knocks me out. But I do bring in Flygon here to charge a little bit of energy. And I believe they bring in that Lapras again. So I make a quick switch into my own Lapras, so I'm okay with the mirror match because I'm going to win based on the health advantage. We're just surfing it away at each other. And I take out the Lapras there, and they bring in the Bastiodon, so that's pretty scary. But I think I'm able to squeeze in 1 more surf here, which actually makes the difference because I can switch into Flygon, and I still have that shield, so I block the Stone Edge, and then I finish it off with a Dragon Claw. So well played there. And yeah, here I switch it out for a Alolan Marowak, right? I think I switch out the Flygon to a Alolan Marowak. But yeah, as a quick little note here, um, I do have one more portion of video, but it's much longer than these, and I don't want to make this video um like 40 minutes or longer. So yeah, I didn't include that in here, but I will make a short part 2 portion for the Power of Lucario, just so you guys can see um that portion of those battles. So yeah, anyways, getting into this battle here, we both have used the shield already, and my Alolan Marowak is looking pretty in this Lucario battle. Um, but we do pretty much feint each other. He brings in Bastiodon, so I bring in Lucario to do that 4 times. He brings in Charizard, so I make a quick swap into my pre-charged Lapras. And then that Bastiodon's coming back in here to finish off Lapras, so I can't get off that final surf. But I do have Lucario with a Power-Up Punch, and that cleans up Bastiodon. So yeah, as you can see here, Lucario is very reliable when it has that attack boost, and especially when it has pre-charged energy and shields. So yeah, you're definitely going to want to either use shields or get them stuck in a switch and then bring in Lucario to finish the job. Um, and I do recommend leading with him in some cases, but you will have to get lucky with the leads. So if you do get lucky, you're in a really good position to sweep their team and force the shields. So yeah, in this match, I lead Alolan Marowak, they lead Alolan Ninetales, and as you can see, that Shadow Ball did a lot of damage. I do block that first move, but I didn't really need to. As you can see, it didn't do that much damage the second time around. And now they bring in a little, not Alolan Marowak, sorry, Lucario. I'm not sure why they brought that in, but we'll see here in a second once Lucario gets killed. But it is able to beat my Alolan Marowak and get those power punches. So here I have to bring in Lucario to finish that, or else my Lapras was in some trouble. And we are in a very favorable matchup here against Charizard. And I had that shield advantage. And we kill it with the Surf. So yeah, I think that's why they brought in Lucario over Charizard against Alolan Marowak. They probably didn't want to give up the Charizard and then be stuck with Lucario against Alolan Marowak. So I don't blame them, but if I were him, I probably would have switched into Charizard. But yeah, anyways, this next game they open Altaria, I open Alolan Marowak, and this is a pretty even matchup if they don't shield. That Sky Attack won't do too much damage, but I do want to preserve Alolan Marowak's health, seeing as they didn't shield the first Shadow Ball. But they do shield that one, and here's where I let my Alolan Marowak faint. And now I bring in Lapras, and they probably thought, I'm not sure what they thought I was bringing in, but they made like a, they made, they pretty much, they made a lightning switch fit, a lightning fast switch, blah, sorry, tripping over my own words here. And for some reason they switched in Charizard there, so yeah, that put them at a they put them at a really bad I can't speak again. That put them in a really bad spot, and my Lucario can take that win against Altaria with the Shadow Ball. And now in this final match of this video, I think I just switched up the flow of this team. Oh, never mind. That's actually the end of this video, guys. Um, or the end of the battle portion of this video. So yeah, anyways, guys, that concludes the Power of Lucario video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope these videos aren't too long, but if they are, please let me know down below if I should make them shorter and maybe like do less battles or just do less of the PvP poke thing. But yeah, anyways, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the Pvpoke section and the battle portion section of this video, and I really hope you guys found this helpful. Um, and I'll be making more of these throughout this month, so watch out for those. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Wish you luck in your Kingdom Cup tournaments, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.